Hey, welcome to Full 42. What's going on, Mike? Why are you laughing?
I mean, really?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was just talking to you 5 seconds before. That was not there.
You talking about this guy?
Yeah, that fucking thing.
Yeah, that's my puppet.
Oh my god, I hate
Nice. Yeah, little old man puppet.
He's gonna slowly creep his way to the show, and next time it's just gonna be there.
Last episode he was way back there. Now he's up there. Yeah, I know. When we were talking right before the show, I had the camera like this so you wouldn't see him. That's funny.
I thought you just wanted to show off your figures a little bit more. Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, how's it going? So we are talking about everything Marvel Wave 4 and up, right? So that's after Endgame. We've talked about all the stuff up until Endgame for the last 2 years in a lot of episodes and stuff, right? But after Endgame, live getting in the way stuff, and also, 2020 and all that stuff, it made it really hard to see these things right off the bat and then have a show about each one and stuff like that. So now that you're caught up, and I'm actually not as caught up as you at this point because I've only seen 3 of the I Am Groot series. Of course, they're only 5 minutes long, but they're hilarious so far.
The shortest things in the MCU you have not seen. That's hysterical.
Right. Well,
yeah. You want to talk about that? Why we're doing it today and not tomorrow?
Oh, right. So today's Sunday instead of Monday, our usual time. Stuff happening tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, so family stuff and things like that is going on. So we decided, we didn't want to go a whole week without having a show, so we thought we'd have a show here.
We wanted to do live, not recorded, because we wanted to interact and do all the things.
Yeah. Talking to people and stuff is part of the show. I mean, it's good right now. Just like so. Yep.
Good.
So we thought we'd talk about something, Marvel, how it's doing, how it's been doing since Endgame. One thing I want to be certain about right up front is that I'm not the kind of person, and I know you aren't either, that likes to, what's the term, like yuck other people's yum kind of thing. So I'm not going to be kicking things down, being like, Disney or anything like that. I love Marvel stuff for the most part. There's going to be little things I'll be like, I don't like this, but I like that. I promise we weren't going to be like grumpy old men, like kicking the things that you love. If you're here and you love Marvel, you're going to like all this stuff. So, but there's going to be a few things I'm also going to be like, I don't like this. And I'm sure Mike is too. So
also something to note, probably going to get into some spoilers on some of the shit. So if you haven't seen some of the stuff, maybe pause it and go watch some things.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show a picture that's like a movie poster or something like that of the thing we're talking about. We're just gonna start from Black Widow, which is the start of Wave 4, and move on down. We're gonna talk about the series too. So if we get to something you haven't seen yet, just hit mute until you see the picture change. Yeah.
And those joining in later will have no idea what you just said and not know. That'll be great.
Yeah. Evan here. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that once we get to that. I have a lot to say about it. So we'll talk about it. Before we do that, Mike here has is it a game, a trivia thing that you're going to pop up that's Marvel related?
Yeah, the announcements. Look, I know it's Sunday, but let's stay to routine here. Jeez.
It's Sunday. It's wild. We just do whatever we want.
No fucking rules on Sunday.
No rules. Out the door. Window, whatever it is.
So
out
I got
the door, in the window.
Into the window, out the door, and then back in the window. I have 2 things. I have Lucas painting.
Oh, yes. Always like looking at Lucas paintings. Try to figure out what we can see. Reveal our souls to people. What is that monstrosity behind you, by the way? Speaking of things over our shoulders behind us.
That is my bobblehead Gizmo. I've been changing things back here. I don't know if you've noticed.
No, not Gizmo. I love Gizmo. Next to him, the green thing.
So that's my Cthulhu.
Okay.
That's Cthulhu.
Oh, all right.
He's a dice bag.
Oh, that's cute.
And he holds my
that's a
my
refrigerator.
My Arkham Second Edition dice.
A refrigerator, you say?
It is.
That's cool. Oh, you got your Arkham dice and your yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So
that's good.
Put it back here tonight.
I mean, it's no old man puppet.
No, not an old man puppet. Oh, he's not gonna stay now. See, I had it, and now it's not gonna stay. Okay, he's gonna stay there. He might move during the show. All right, so two things. One's well, I guess both personal. One is business. One is pleasure. Business. For those that are following along that are watching this before midnight Thursday this week, September 7th, QSCon badges are getting shut down. So we have time for the company that's making the badges for me to print them all in time. So if you haven't gotten your badge yet, head over to QSCon.com to get them. VIPs are done. Saturdays are done. Fridays are done. So there's weekends and Sundays left, and then child badges. If I don't foresee them selling out, but if there's a need and they do, just reach out to me directly and we'll take care of that. So this Thursday, September 7th at 11:59 p.m. They're going down. If they don't sell out, I have them sold today. So if they don't Thursday at midnight, then that is the cutoff. And then the pleasure side of things is my Luca painting. Not my Luca painting. My Luca's painting. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's this week's.
Ooh.
This is from February. So this is about a month into him going into the painting.
And if you're not familiar with this is his young son's painting. He does one, every day? At least one a day?
He's currently sleeping right now.
Yeah. And we like to look at these and do the Rorschach test. Like, so what do you see in them? And, comments, tell us what you see.
Yeah.
I see somebody running for sure. That gray. They're running to the side. I don't know what's going on up the sky, but it looks very wintry, very cold, which I would love right now because Texas is on fire.
It's ridiculous how hot it gets there.
Have you ever heard of fire weather?
Nope, that's new to me.
Fire weather warning is what we get sometimes.
Like shit just randomly lights on fire?
Yeah, like it can. Yeah, it's been so long. Yeah, insane. But yeah, I see somebody running in the snow, maybe some city lights in the background.
Okay.
That doesn't tell you much about my deep dark soul.
No, not much at all.
Oh, Rob sees a dinosaur.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with
yeah. I like the dinosaur theory. I can't get. Obviously your eye is drawn to the runner, but there's something else there with like this back fin. There's like a fin here, and then those are fish. So my mind doesn't. I don't know what it wants to do with this one. Like someone running underwater. It's weird.
Interesting.
I like the dinosaur one. That was good. I didn't see its mouth. It's on this side. I can't do it. I didn't see its mouth. I assume this is the mouth of the dinosaur. I didn't see that until Rob said it.
Oh! I didn't even see it that way. I saw it like a velociraptor just running. Like instead of a man running, it's got a tail.
Oh, right? Okay.
Could have meant it your way though. Yeah,
maybe
it's a good one.
It's cool that we all see it differently in different ways. Like there's something going on with this pink in the background too, right? That kind of looks like a fish.
If you turn it upside down, it'll be a gun.
It's totally different. Like it's so funny. So what I try and do, and you notice I put the Luca on the bottom there, is predominantly look at the little like the different color in there's like pink and purple in there too.
Those are like winter colors when you paint. Yeah.
Well, I'll hand him the paintbrush with the colors on it, and he'll have this in his left hand, and it's whatever way he's mostly painting it. So he'll turn it every now and then, but usually he'll keep it one way, and he'll paint with it this way. So I always make sure like whatever has predominantly been on top, the way he's been painting is the way that I put his name down here for it. So
Rob says they're extinction meteors. Oh man.
Oh wow.
That got dark quick.
All right. Yeah, that one is a little dark now. Yeah, the dinosaur is running from the meteorites. That's great.
Man, Luca's got a deep soul.
I mean, maybe, right? He's almost he could tell us some shit. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. So
Pretty cool. I like that one this week.
I like that one too.
All right, so
smaller one.
What was that? Oh yeah, it is a small one.
I won't show you it. Well, I guess you'll kind of see it, but that's today's. He did this one today, but that's the 3 and the 4x4. So
yeah, and you get what, like 1 billion of those now?
I've definitely crossed 100. He did 3 a couple of days ago for me.
Wow.
He did 2 today.
I don't know what you're gonna do with all those.
I don't know either. I really don't.
Start decorating the entire wall like wallpaper.
Yeah.
Like tiles, you know.
I have a lot of them.
All right, so we're gonna talk Marvel, unless we have any other announcements.
No, my Luca painting and the QSCon stuff is really all I had. What do you got going on?
Oh, we got Scryfy coming this week. Another episode where we talk about Ahsoka. We've done 3 of them now.
Yeah.
Man, that's an amazing series. So if you haven't seen that, watch it first because we spoil the hell out of each episode. But we have an episode after Ahsoka has an episode, which comes out on Tuesdays. So we usually come out on Wednesdays. But we go through, the scenes and we talk about stuff. We bring up stuff that we've heard from other channels or read from other articles and stuff like that. So if you don't feel like deep diving into it, we'll do it for you. So
seriously,
yeah, check that out.
Does remind, tomorrow night. Keith's coming over. I think I'm going to do a live play of something tomorrow night.
Okay, cool.
Not sure what, but oh, nice! Yay, that's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. I was just at a Barnes and Noble today as well. I saw Flamecraft, but I didn't see Mission Control.
Maybe it's sold out.
Maybe. Yeah, I was looking for it because I don't have a copy since I don't know anybody at 3WS. Right?
I mean, you just come to Syracuse, or if you had gone to Gen Con.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So you have a Marvel test quiz trivia, I think.
Great. I hate every minute of it.
Awesome. Okay, great. So we're gonna do that first before we discuss all of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna.
That would make sense. Otherwise,
we're gonna drive Chris a little bit crazy first, and then we'll go into the shows. All right.
Cool. And comments, you're a little bit delayed than I am, but if you can give answers as well, go ahead. Also, sorry, before we begin, if you're watching this later and you can't live comment, at least tell us what your favorite show is, or even movie and show of Marvel for this wave 4 going forward. And maybe your worst? Just tell us stuff.
Yeah, anything. Tell us anything.
All right, what are we doing with the Infinity Stones here?
All right, well, how do I, there we go.
Oh.
Yeah. So, can I get rid of, wait a minute.
That went away.
I know it went away. I'm trying to get into, I want to delete something.
Do you want to get a little tighter to it? We could do this.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, well, then I can't see who's to your left, so never mind.
Oh, then don't do that. I want to be able to delete something. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to bring it back up in a second. Hold on. I got to get out of this. How do I get out? There it is.
Rob, you don't have any. If you saw it at Barnes and Noble, you don't have any excuse why you don't have a copy, right? Right. It's not payday yet. Yeah, I actually played Mission Control at the Gathering. That was really fun. I do need to get that game because that was fun. What happened? Did I win the quiz?
No. Why is it not on anymore?
Oh, I don't know. You did that.
I need to go here.
Rob says his favorite movie is the first Captain. Oh, that's wave 1 through 3. First Captain America. It's an odd choice. Maybe show is probably fucking. Yeah, show was really good. Yeah. But yeah, if we're talking wave 4 and beyond, that's Black Widow. I have a list here, but I haven't gone through it yet. Yeah, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Those are the movies in Wave 4. And then, Wave 4 actually started way back with WandaVision. So we'll talk about basically every Marvel series up to this point, and what we thought about it. And some of those we've talked a lot about, so we might not like harp on them too much, because we did have a whole episode on WandaVision, I believe. And maybe even Falcon. Yeah, we had one whole episode on the Falcon Winter Soldier as well. So we might not dive into those too deeply. But we'll say what we think of them and stuff.
Overall, I mean, they're all good. There are some that are better than others.
Agree. Yeah. But I don't know if I want to go with all good. I have one I'm going to talk about. We'll get to it.
They're all good. All right, so this is what you're going to get out of me, because I'm not as experienced as you are.
Okay. Now it's smaller.
Up top there, you notice there are 10 Marvel villains.
Yeah, I can't quite make out the first one, but I see Loki, Kingpin, Magneto, Mysterio. A lot of M's. Red Skull, Thanos. Is that Sabretooth?
It is.
After that, Kang, and what's his name from Iron Man 2 with the whips?
With the whips. That should give you a clue.
Whiplash? Whiplash? Yeah. So I can't see who the first one is, though. Is that
you got 8? You got 8 of the 10 correct.
Is that I just can't see the image. Is that Kraven or?
No, it's Killmonger.
Oh, Killmonger. Okay.
And the second one is Hera, not Loki.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you got Killmonger, Hera, Kingpin, Magneto, Mysterio, Red Skull, Thanos, Sabretooth, Kang, and Whiplash.
All right.
I am in possession of all the stones in my gauntlet, and I snap. And I'm going to ask you to recast each one of those villains.
Oh, that's mean. You're doing that to me. I may have done something like this to you before.
Yeah, sure have.
Okay.
So on the bottom there, you'll notice some important characters. We have Tom Holland.
Oh my God.
They're
all Marvel people, though.
They sure are. Scarlett Johansson, Paul Rudd, Natalie Portman.
That Paul Rudd kind of looks like a Michael J. Fox image.
A little bit, yeah. Got a big forehead in that one too. Natalie Portman, Chris Evans, Jeremy Renner, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Brie Larson, and Hugh Jackman. And I'm going to ask you to recast all of the villains with those.
See, heroes. I find this fun. You always hate these things, but I think these are fun.
Absolute hell. I hate it.
All right. A lot of white people down there. I was just looking at Killmonger, and I was like, what do you do with that?
You don't know. I mean, there's also only one female villain in Marvel.
Sure.
I mean, you can argue a couple others, but for the most part, overarchingly.
No, there's a lot of female. I mean, White Queen at one point was...
not in the MCU, though.
Oh, not in the MCU. Yeah, I guess you're... Oh, well, Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Yeah, to a degree, though, right? She's not really...
Yeah. We'll get to that, yeah. All right, so, well, let's see. Tom Holland's the youngest, and we'll just start from left to right. Who's he got to be?
Sure.
He can't be a Mysterio. He's definitely not a Sabretooth. Whiplash, maybe? He's got the Iron Man suit kind of stuff going on already.
Okay.
Killmonger, he'd be too small for that. He's definitely not a Kingpin. I don't think any of these people are Kingpin, though. Ugh.
Someone has to be.
Brutal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to skip Tom Holland for now. Let's go to Scarlett Johansson. Man, these don't fit well. No, all right. You know what? I want Scarlett Johansson to be Sabretooth. Female Sabretooth. That'd be cool looking. Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought you were going to ask me what the Infinity Stones were powered by, or what they were and stuff. I was going to nail that.
No,
all right.
That was me throwing you off a little bit and just saying.
Yeah. All right. Let's make. All right. We've seen Chris Hemsworth get a little fat before, not real life. But so let's send him over to Kingpin.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magneto is my favorite Marvel villain of all time. So I got to really nail this. However, I think if they're going to do a whole new X-Men, whole new Magneto and stuff, they're going to have to reinvent him some. So I think I want to see. I want to see Hugh Jackman as Magneto.
Interesting.
I almost went with Natalie Portman, actually, but I can't see her being that evil.
All right. These aren't final, so whatever.
Yeah. No, these are final. This is going to happen. You're going to snap, and it's Red Skull. Let's see. Yeah, Natalie Portman would reinvent Magneto. Chris Evans. He's way too smiley. Let's make him a Red Skull because I like making Captain America Red Skull. So he's already got the serum in there.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Paul Rudd is a ridiculous person. And a ridiculous person needs 2 whips on his hands. So let's make him Whiplash. Brie Larson. Ooh, who's going to be Thanos? Oh, no. Who I had left? Oh, okay. She even has her hand up like that. Natalie Portman's going to be Thanos. I want to see her snap.
This is way too easy for you.
Oh, see, I told you I enjoy this stuff. You missed it.
That's way too easy.
I enjoy this stuff. It's fun. I don't know why you don't think it's fun. I think it's fun. It's more fun whenever you're miserable through it. But I think it's kind of, let's see, the other ones might be pretty easy at this point. I don't know. Tom Holland's still a rough one. You know what? Tom Holland is Hera.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of small kid coming back and being all upset about being locked up and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That means Killmonger needs to either be Reiner might be able to pull that off. Ooh, Brie Larson. Let's make Brie Larson Killmonger.
Okay.
And then that means we got Kang and Mysterio left. Oh, man. Okay, Mysterio's kind of wacky, so we're going to make it Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Yep, which means Jeremy Renner is Kang. I could live with that.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner as Kang is pretty good. I don't know if he's got that the seriousness though. Like he can do it, but Kang's got to be like.
Yeah, this isn't the best casting. But yeah, I think that's the best version. I'd like to know what other people think would be better. I almost went with Natalie Portman as Magneto. I couldn't. I'm actually pretty happy with her being Thanos, though. She could be the Mad Titan.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I'm not crazy about any of these being Kingpin.
Yeah, I think Hemsworth is Kingpin is probably that's where I would go with that one too.
He's got the chops for Kane.
Yeah, does he?
Maybe. I like in all of these. I like everybody that they have cast, right? So it's hard to say anyone else would do it better. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you were to ask me, I don't think any of these recastings would be better than the current one. So,
well, that's because we're so used to the current ones being a thing, right? It's hard to recast somebody.
Suppose. Sure. Yeah. Although I think the closest one might be Hugh Jackman. Now, of course, you would never do it because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, and that's too weird to bring him in as Magneto. But I think that's the closest one I'd be okay with because Magneto's got to be a new person, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, the Ronin Endgame thing. Yeah. See that. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know where I'd put him. I don't know where
I
I'd
mean,
put him.
he could be a Red Skull, and you could switch him and Chris Evans. Evans could be. I don't think Evans could be a Kang.
No. I would put Holland as Kang.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, Holland's actually a really good actor.
Right, and he can play those different roles, right? That would
but I just don't see him as like. I don't know. Maybe he could. Hey, he might be able to.
But then who would be Hera?
I threw him at Hera just because I didn't know where to put him, honestly. But Hera's a little more sadistic, and I don't see that in him as much.
Yeah.
So.
All right, good. Well, there you go. There's your official recasting by Chris.
Yeah, that's fun. All right, so let's start talking about. Well, we're going to start off with Black Widow here, right?
Sure, yeah. Now, all right, so this is where we're going to go into not deep dives, but talking about endings and maybe tags and how it works overall. So let's make sure whoever's watching this at this point knows, like, while Scarlet is in the middle of the screen there, we're talking about this. So if you haven't seen it or don't want it spoiled, or maybe you couldn't care less,
at this point you might not. Basically, if you see something, like I said before, if you see something that you haven't seen yet, just wait till the image changes until you see something else. Like, mute it and wait. All right, so Black Widow's a while back. I have how many? Here's before we get into this, I believe I've only seen each of all of this only once. I might be wrong, and I'll correct it if we come along one, and I'll be like, oh, I have seen this more than once.
I think I'm in the same boat. I think in its entirety, I've seen all of this once, but I have gone back and watched certain scenes.
Sure, yeah. I've done a
couple extra things, but for the most part, each one of these I've only watched once, which says a lot about it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an indication of anything like that, but I can tell you every single movie from phase 1, 2, and 3 I've seen multiple times.
Oh my god, yeah.
So
they're just that good. And seen the same thing, like going back and watching Tony fight with Bucky and Cap in Civil War is still like an unbelievable scene that you just want to watch again. But like Endgame, Infinity War, like if they're on, I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's anything specific in these phases. And well, I guess after Endgame, I don't think there's anything that I would purposefully, like, if I had time to sit down with a drink and something and be like, you know what, I want to watch this. I don't know what that would be in this phase at all. Also, Rob, thank you. It couldn't care less, and I hate people that say couldn't. I don't hate people. I always correct people when they say.
It doesn't bother me. I could care less.
Yeah. Well, if you could care less, you would, right? You'd care less. The same thing is when somebody, and this is an aside, but when somebody says, oh, that's the least I can do. No, the least you can do is nothing. So it's not the least you can do. The least you can do is nothing. So that's me. Moving on.
All right. So Black Widow. Yeah, I'm not going to go over plots and stuff like that. If you've seen it, you've seen it. And if not, then you should have this muted. So, this movie, I like that it was in between. Like, they kind of went backwards and said it's in between Endgame and all that stuff. And of course, the best part of this was Yelena, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, that relationship between her and her sister made this whole movie. Yeah. And the dad was funny and stuff like that. As far as the plot goes, though, it was kind of like, okay, fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
And there's some moments that, like, I would go back and be like, ooh, that's a cool moment there and stuff. But it's actually more, I've watched on YouTube's the clips with her and her sister just talking about the best and all that, because that's the best part. It's the comedy between them.
Yeah.
So I like the movie a lot. I just haven't seen it again. So
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
would.
it was good. I think you're right. I think Taskmaster was okay. I think there's going to be some payoff moving forward when like Thunderbolts and that all comes
Yeah.
around, which will make this more like some of the stuff in here less of a throwaway and more important.
Right.
Kind of like it. Well, we'll get into that later. But yeah, it was good. There was nothing really like the fight scenes were good. She was epic. Like love her character, but it plot wise it was predictable. But there were some standouts. It wasn't the best thing. I probably wouldn't turn it on again until something's about to happen. Like I said, like when Thunderbolts comes out, we might want to learn a little bit more about what's going on and the nuances that were going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're kind of it's just kind of there.
Yeah. But overall, I think it was a good movie. I was happy with it.
Yep. Yeah, it was good.
Next was Shang-Chi.
This I came around on.
This might be my favorite of them. No, it's very close. It might be my second favorite of these movies from Wave 4.
When I first watched it, we talked about it. I don't know if it was on the show or not, but we talked about it, and I was not a fan. I was like, okay, like this was, it was wickedly predictable. It was very fantastical. But then I started like looking in a little bit more to what was going on, and I've gone back and watched it a little bit. The sad part with this is like he hasn't even been in a tech. Like there's been nothing about his character since the movie dropped 2 years ago.
Well, there is a part 2 coming out.
Right, but he's been nowhere. Nothing has been anywhere about this. It's just it was there again, another standalone, right? Like Black Widow leads into a little bit of what's going on, but it kind of is a standalone right now until we get more of like the Thunderbolts and shit going on. This is another one that they dropped and was like, okay, nothing's come of it.
I was actually surprised we didn't see him pop up in She-Hulk or in well, spoilers, I guess. We didn't see him pop up in Doctor. I was really thinking we'd see him in Doctor Who, and we didn't. And Doctor Strange.
That's a wicked crossover.
That'd be a weird crossover, yeah. Doctor Strange, and we didn't. Yeah, especially the way they end this feels like you are now adopted into the thing. I thought, oh, we're going to see him pop up more and stuff, and I am surprised that we haven't. Plus, I love the actor and the character and stuff so much that I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this more, and haven't seen him so.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. Although the plot was predictable, like everything that was going on, and it was like, yeah, okay, that's gonna happen. Oh, it happened. Yeah, it definitely was better than I thought the first time. The first time when I did a deep dive into like why doesn't Mike like it? But the missing piece is he just hasn't been anywhere else. It was just there.
I'd agree with that.
Like even with the Eternals, like there's been something, right? But this was just kind of there and then nothing. And it's sad that with the way we expect Marvel movies to be with tags and like the little nuances of like things popping up, there's been nothing, even with the 10 Rings that I've seen.
Yeah. I expected to see him by now.
Yeah.
You're right.
Especially with number 2 coming, right? Like there should be something going on. And maybe he will. Maybe he'll end up in a tag and something that's coming out soon, right? Like I doubt Loki is going to have anything to do with it, but maybe the Marvels. I don't know where he's going to fit in now, but
the new What Ifs.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Because now you're going to cross over the What Ifs with the MCU. I don't know.
Well, I will say this about the movie though. The hardest thing that it had going for it was that it based a big chunk of what the hell was going on off of the one movie that nobody rewatches, which is Iron Man 3. Nobody remembered anything about Iron Man 3 so much that they had to create a little short thing to tell you or remind you who the guy was, right? The Mandarin, who he was and stuff. Because you'd watch it and be like, oh yeah, he was in something. Who was he? Like, it might be. I would say it's, if you don't count the Hulk, probably the least watched one by me.
I've
seen Thor 2 more.
I didn't mind it at all. Like Iron Man 3 still had good plot. It had good, like it was a totally different movie for his character, right? It was him literally frozen. Like he had nothing. And he had the little Hello Kitty watch. And like I know things were fun, but like that movie was the bottom of where Tony could be. He was in a cave in one, right, with nothing. He had to build up Iron Man, the suit, Mark 1, and now he's got nothing again. Like it was a little weird, but
I think just the pacing of it was bad for me. And I also didn't care about the bad guy. The bad guy was very kind of like, man, it could have been anybody.
True.
Kind of thing.
True.
I did like the part where Pepper gets to be badass and stuff like that. There was cool moments.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he blows up his suits, and everybody's like, what the hell does this mean? And then he's just back with some more suits later. Like, it didn't mean anything is what it meant.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, that's going back in time. The hardest thing that this movie had was that it was pulling from that movie that nobody knew or remembered much about. So, but other than that, I loved every minute of this movie. I've gone back and rewatched that bus scene 100 times.
Yeah.
Like where he fights in the bus. That was great. I loved it. So
yeah, it was epic, right? It was, although predictable, like the scenes were great. The dragon scenes and everything that was going on in it, the fights were really, really well done. It's just, again, my problem with it is that it was too predictable in plot. And then what? Like, what did it do? Like you said, it pulled from the Mandarin, right? Okay, great. Let's get a Mandarin story, because obviously the Mandarin was like, that whole thing was weird. Okay. Right. So now you're going to get like this straight line of, okay, here's the thing, but there wasn't the thing. And then it was this overarching predictable plot with, I mean, what's the payoff? Like, what did it do?
Yeah, I can't argue that it wasn't predictable, but I mean, when I watch movies, I don't try to predict the ending and stuff. But you're right, there was no big twist or anything. But you know, I enjoyed all the way through. I especially loved it whenever they went to that mystic world and you got to see all those different creatures and stuff. You know, and I only have a little bit of like, I've seen images of some of those creatures and stuff like that. Like I don't know enough about them, and it made me more curious. So
yeah. But when, like, to parallel it with something that isn't MCU yet, which hopefully it is, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which it should be because they reference specific things in MCU movies. But when they went to, I want to say Shangri-La, I don't think it's Shangri-La, the one season where they went to the other you know, the wherever the hell
place where all the Inhumans were hiding. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like even that, the mythical level of what they created in there, where we were in that village and in the thing, and you're trying to figure out, is she a bad guy? Is she not a bad guy? Who's out for who here? Hey, Alan. No, we couldn't wait. Even for me, what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did with that mystical part of it, or mythical, both probably. I think they did a better job in story and plot than they did with this, just because there hasn't been, it's almost its own thing. And even though it was predictable, the story, like by the end, okay, great. It's a coming of age. Like he did the thing. Okay. And then what? Like it hasn't done anything else.
Part of the issue from our perspective, I believe, is that, you know, if we watch a movie where someone suddenly goes to the mythical world of Olympus and they see centaurs and Pegasus and stuff, this is imagery and creatures and mythos that you and I as Westerners are very familiar with.
Right.
And so if they would do that, we wouldn't need any explanation and all that deep dive into what are we looking at and stuff. But we aren't, or at least for me, not as familiar with all these mythological creatures from these cultures. So whenever we saw that, I was like, okay, that looks awesome, but I don't know what that is. And I wanted more information.
Sure.
And because it was a movie, they didn't have time to give you all that information and stuff. So it would be cool to get more stuff. But yeah.
But so I get the giving me information because I don't know the information. Like, sure, right? You're limited to 2 hours. You only have so much you can do. Although they want to reiterate Batman's storyline and they want to reiterate Spider-Man's story like over and over again. Like how many times? But with this, regardless of the mythos and trying to learn about what was going on, like you're going to give us these epic punches, right? You're going to give us all these moments, and then the movie's going to end. And then for 2 years, when you know another one's coming, there's nothing, right? What did it do to the timeline? What did it do to the other parts of the world? It hasn't done. Were they affected by the blip? Was it like what was going on after the like what happened? It's just there it is. And more so than Black Widow. Black Widow, at least you know, like, okay, we've seen some Thunderbolt shit. We know like Ross is coming in and like we've seen US Agent and all these things kind of pushing themselves like, oh, that's going to mean something in a minute. There's been nothing with Shang-Chi.
There is a little bit with Wong and She-Hulk where the scene from this movie where Wong is fighting the Abomination becomes a thing with She-Hulk. Yeah. That's a little bit. But it's not what you want. It's not all the mystical stuff. What is this dude doing with the 10 rings all this time, right?
Yeah. So well, all that scene did was give you Abomination on the other side of the script, right? And give you a little bit more character building for Wong. But it didn't do anything for Shang-Chi or the 10 rings or what the hell we saw in this movie. It really didn't do, and maybe it will. Again, if I look at it from Black Widow's perspective, if I look at it as a Black Widow perspective, then Shang-Chi 2, this might pay off more. But I feel like even Black Widow being its thing has already, like, it's already paid off because of who it was, what was in it, what was going on, than this as just being like its own thing.
If you compare how things worked in the phases 1, 2, and 3, right? You would get an Iron Man movie, Thor movie, Captain America, Iron Man 2, Thor 2. Like they really only had 3 characters that kind of like built up for a little bit and threw in some side. Here's a little bit of Hulk. Here's a little bit, some side stuff and all. And then whenever it became Avenger time, you had a good grasp of everything. It all felt tied together. They're throwing so many characters at us after phase 4 that once that character is shown to you, they're gone.
Yeah.
And then they have to show you this new character and their whole new thing and stuff. But we are going to get some connections soon. We're going to talk about the stuff that's coming up.
Sure.
So we'll see it. It's a lot further spread out than it used to be.
It is. So. I don't want to see them fall into the DC trap where it seems as if it's not Superman or it's not Batman, no one gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like no one really cares that Aquaman 2 is coming out. No one really does. Flash,
is it?
Okay, it is. Flash, I think, was important for the timeline, but because Keaton and Batman were a thing, right?
Like I haven't seen it.
I haven't either. I've heard it's good, and I've heard it's worth watching, but I haven't.
This isn't the hate DC episode, though, so I don't want to dive into that. But
you kind of just touched on it, though, right? Like you had Iron Man, you had Cap, you had Thor, and you had Avengers, and you had Iron Man, and you had Cap, and you had Thor, and the Avengers. And those and you can argue Hawkeye and Black Widow and like Hulk, like okay, fine, but those three
all thrown in there,
that trinity is the same as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in the DC. And anything else that's kind of come out has kind of just been there. And if it doesn't have, and the problem is, if it doesn't have Cap, Thor, and Iron Man, is it going to be good? Are people going to want to see it and see more of it, right?
I think they can do that. But I thought Shang-Chi was going to be one of the... basically, with Phase 4, they should have picked 3 new main ones.
Right.
And Shang-Chi should have been one. Black Widow should have been the... Well, she dies in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so can't do that. But Shang-Chi, I thought, because he was the next one after Black Widow, was going to be one of them. And you're right. Then we don't see anything about him. Doctor Strange could be one because he's still hanging around, but they're not doing that. They're like, here's someone, they're really cool. Here's another person, they're really cool. Yep. So maybe that's why it feels different this time around, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a different formula for sure.
But I did love this movie. And if I were to go, when I go watch movies again from this thing, this will probably be the first one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
Either this or Black Widow. I mean, they've been far back enough and stuff. But like I said, I've already gone back and watched some scenes. So
Widow was good. I think this one's probably got the biggest payoff, right, in theatrical like presentation than the others. But.
I love kung fu and stuff like that too, so it just pays off really well for me. So, all right, so let's move on to something that doesn't pay off well for me.
Speaking of kung fu, and maybe we'll talk about it this week on Scryfy, the witch, Morgan Elsbeth.
Yep.
Her.
And now you're jumping into Ahsoka.
Totally on the side here, but you said kung fu. The character, the actress that plays her, her middle name is Lee, and she's named after Bruce Lee. Did you see this thing?
Oh, really? That's fun.
Her father, I guess she grew up with Bruce Lee, or her father had something to do with Bruce Lee's training. So she's kind of like, she's named.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. I was reading an article on her. Yeah. All right. So then there's this mess.
Yeah, this mess. Talk about not being part of the rest of the stuff. Yeah. This is so secluded from anything else that, well, for one thing, I'm actually happy in this regard because this was such a wreck. This is the only MCU movie, I'm counting the Hulk, that I don't want to rewatch.
You're gonna have to though, right? Because they're gonna pay off the Celestial, and it's gonna be a thing.
It was just so brutally bad. And again, I don't want to. If this is somebody's favorite, I'm sorry. And you're not wrong for loving it and stuff. It's all subjective, right? But it just failed on every level. There wasn't a single. There was one single character I enjoyed. No, well, two, and I'm hiding them. And that was his character with his manservant.
Yeah,
that little relationship, that was funny. And that was the only thing that I enjoyed about this whole thing. It was a wreck. Total wreck.
It was pretty brutal.
And I'll even admit that it had an interesting twist and stuff going on with it.
Did it?
But it was done poorly. Like it was created, like it was conceived of in an interesting way. But it was created poorly. Done poorly. So.
Right.
See you, Rob.
Rob.
Must be a Turtle fan.
Yeah.
And I like every actor here. I didn't have a problem with the acting. I had a problem with the characters. The characters they were given. There was no
storyline too was brutal.
Yeah, the storyline was everywhere. It was long. There's supposed to be this big epic storyline, but it didn't feel that way. It just felt like, hey, these guys showed up whenever we were all kind of like cavemen. And then meanwhile, now it's today's time. And it kind of covered like, yeah, we weren't supposed to do anything. Thanos came by. We're like, really?
Yeah.
You guys are like near celestial power and stuff. Like this dude's Superman, basically. Yep. They couldn't help really. Come on. I mean, I get it, but
they could have done better. I mean the storyline that was going on, the plot twist, whatever, if you want to call it a twist, if you didn't predict that, whatever. The whole thing with the Celestials being in the planets and then coming, like that could have been so much better. Just overall better.
I mean, I also have a problem with if something comes out of the Earth so much and so large that you can see it from space, there's going to be actual tsunamis and problems that are going to wipe out millions of people. Sorry, that's how science works.
Yeah.
There's the planet should be wrecked now, billions dead. At the point where a hand comes out and half a head and stuff, that's not just, we just did a little bit of change and stuff. Like that's tectonic plates crumbling and being destroyed, and it doesn't work. It's just a stupid idea out of somebody's head that didn't check to see if it would be real.
Yeah,
I hate it. Anyway.
Yeah, we got a little bit of Guardians lore in here, right? With the Celestials and Nowhere and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I like Celestial. I liked, like I said, some of the concepts.
Yeah.
I just thought it was executed so poorly. I didn't care if any of these guys died. If all of them died, I'd be happy. I don't care one way or the other.
You couldn't care less?
I couldn't care less, or could care less.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a weird.
So I don't want to harp on this too much. I just want to push past because I could just go on, and that's not fun for anybody.
Maybe they can get Dave Filoni to come in and just retcon it and make it better with some animated series. I don't know.
I think honestly, I kind of feel like this is just like the other one you were talking about, where it doesn't feel like it's connected. I kind of hope they just don't connect it and just pretend like it didn't happen.
Well, they're gonna have to.
I just hope they don't.
No, I mean,
I don't want to see Thanos' brother. I don't want to see any of this stuff again. Just leave it alone. Work with what's working.
Yeah, but then it's got to connect to something, right? Like it exists. So then why it does though? But it does.
Just let it go.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go into something that was pretty awesome and needs to be rewatched.
Oh my god!
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so good.
Yeah.
I'm really happy. I didn't have any of this spoiled for me, by the way. I didn't see any trailers.
Good for you.
I didn't know anybody was coming back, knew nothing about it. And so I got the best version of this as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think this was an overall huge success. This might be the most successful movie they've had this wave.
Probably. I don't know if anything else would have been better.
Yeah.
So this one is one of the ones that I'll go back and watch scenes it more regularly because Luca is a huge Spider-Man fan now, and like Spider-Man is just a thing. So this will go on for a little bit, and then he'll want to watch something else and go over to the Spidey and His Amazing Friends or whatever. But I've gone into like purposefully set this up at different scenes so I could watch some of it.
Yep.
I've seen this. I've had to at least have seen this a second time, but not complete. Like just from bits
because of the different, yeah.
But that ending it still gets me. That moment in the end where he realizes like they're just better off not knowing me and walking away is like just heart-wrenching.
Man, there are several moments that's just like, like when what's his name? Andrew Garfield catches her, Mary Jane. I was like, he saved her. Like, man, the and it's hard too because if you hadn't seen the other Spider-Mans or anything like that, there's a lot of that missed. Not that you couldn't enjoy this movie. I think they did it well to where you could enjoy this movie, but they paid off certain moments that never got paid off on the other ones, right? Yeah. And they even fixed Tobey Maguire to some regard. Like I was like, man, I actually like Tobey Maguire again. Like I like Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man 2 with Tobey, and then Spider-Man 3 they ruined him. And I was like, oh, did that really happen? Maybe we don't say that happened.
I love how the Into the Spider-Verse they make fun of him, the dancing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was great.
Yeah. It's great.
That scene in this where the three of them, like it was epic to see Garfield come in, and the scene in the kitchen was just like prove whatever. I don't have to prove. And then Maguire comes in like that. That's all really cool. The scene where they're basically like the gargoyles on the building, and they're talking to Peter, Tom Holland's Peter, about what they've lost, and like Andrew Garfield is underrated as Spider-Man. I love Tom Holland. I think he's my favorite. But Garfield, I mean, Tobey's good. I think Garfield portrays the emotion better than Tobey does.
I would agree with that. I think they also gave him a better script to do so, though. So
sure. I mean, 3 was rough. 3 was rough. Hey, Corey.
I think that might be Donnie if he's saying Corey and he both had the same thing. Right?
No, I think he's saying it's Corey, so we know it's Corey.
Oh, I see. Hi, Corey.
Yeah. Which thought? Which same thought? The thought about Spider-Man, or
probably that Andrew, like whenever he caught Mary Jane, I don't know, but there is a little bit of delay, especially I think in the Facebook one.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of good payoffs. I loved Octavius. I loved his character and how they made that happen. Yeah. I loved Norman Osborn coming back. I loved seeing that multiverse come together and fight along the Statue of Liberty and all it was really cool. It was really, really well done. And like you said, I think probably the best of the phase.
And I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange too. So I love what they've done with the character and Cumberbatch's portrayal of him and stuff. And it was really interesting to see. It was almost kind of like a, ooh, can you be my next, Tony? Like, kind of take care of me? Like, no, kid, get out here. Like, that's not what I'm here for. It's kind of thing, It's
the whole Sir and like, Stephen, that felt weird, but I'll allow it. Like that, all of that, the play between them is really good.
Yeah. And it's a different, it's a different thing than he had with Tony, which is good.
Yeah.
And it's its own thing, and it's funny. I liked it. Yeah.
And it feels familiar. It feels like you said, he did step in as the Tony character to Peter.
In some regards, yeah.
But it's totally different, right? Like Tony, it's a totally different character, but it feels good. It feels good.
All right. So after that, we had the Doctor Strange in the multiverse, in the Multiverse of Madness. So in this one, we've talked about this before. I again saw no trailer, no nothing. So I didn't even know, and again, spoilers. So if you don't, I didn't even know that we were going to get the evil Doctor Strange from the What Ifs. Yeah. I didn't know that Wanda was going to be the bad guy. I didn't know any of that stuff. And I loved every minute of it. I loved it more than other people. And whenever I asked them, like, well, did you see the trailer beforehand? They all did. They knew that she was going to be a bad guy. Some of them even could tell that, oh, when the dead body showed up, I knew that was going to be used for blah, blah, blah later because it shows it in the, like, I was like, man, that trailer really kind of messed up this movie for a lot of people.
It could have. Yeah.
So I think I enjoyed this movie more than most people because of that fact.
I think it's worth it. I think it's got a lot of payoff. I think it's got really cool Easter eggs, really good in-your-face Easter eggs. Like if you know some of the old stuff and maybe what's about to happen with this whole multiverse now, it's really cool to see. And this is wicked spoiler. So if you're not up to speed on this, and you definitely want to hit pause here. Really, really cool to see Patrick Stewart come out. Like in the yellow, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
See, I didn't know any of that was happening either, right? And I know that in one of the trailers for this movie, you can hear his voice.
Yeah.
And so that would have, everybody knows what his voice is. But seeing that, and even seeing what's his name, John Krasinski, as Mr. Fantastic, and Captain Britain. That was so awesome to see.
Yeah.
So there were so many. This was full of so many moments. I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" That I think I would have not gotten. I've been spoiled that way. So
the Illuminati was definitely a nice little like. All right, let's give them everything. Like because Krasinski being Mr. Fantastic was something the fans wanted for. Like they were pushing that for years. So to give him a little spotlight, whether or not that it's not going to happen in the Fantastic Four movie, but having that have happened, that was really cool. Having Black Bolt back in there, like there was really cool things that they brought back, even if not just for that one moment.
Also, if you're an Army of Darkness fan, the Sam Raimi, the style that he uses and stuff like that, especially near at the end, that last scene with the eye in the middle and all that stuff, and Bruce Campbell being thrown in there again, it's there's a lot of fun Easter eggs with that
the
stuff.
Hot dog vendor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I was happy with this.
Yeah, there was some. I think Spider-Man beats this just because of some of the. I don't know. It became.
I would agree.
Fantastical.
I expect Doctor Strange to get that crazy though, especially if you call it the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. Like when Wanda went across the chasm and went to that cliff. The cliff temple thing and those temple rocks were there. Like, I don't know. All of that seemed weird. Like her mind jumping into the other Wanda was neat. And I'm sure that's going to pay off at some point, but
maybe
it will.
Yeah. All right. So then the next one, I got some stuff to talk about here.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what was your overall feel on this one?
It was fine. It was not Ragnarok.
Hmm.
It was not better than Ragnarok. I think
No.
it was on par with Branagh's Thor's, although it wasn't dark and dreary like the first two. I think
Right.
this one just fell short in what it was trying to do, but I don't know. I on a one view, it was just kind of like, okay, that happened, and it gave you some stuff. Like there's definitely some things that happen that you're like, okay, good, but I didn't like gore. I didn't like that whole thing that was going on, and I wish that they gave Lady Thor better stuff to do. It just was like out of character. It didn't seem right for her, and then the reasoning behind it. Okay, fine, I get it, but it just was like,
Yeah, I honestly, I would have preferred this to be her movie,
sure, yeah,
and for Thor to have a small part in it. Like
yeah,
it is titled Thor, but she is the new Thor, right?
right,
So I would have really loved for them to make her the main character, have him have a little part in it or something, but it was her story. That's what I would want,
yeah,
and I think that would have been pretty epic. Because what she did do in this was really good, but they could have really dug deep into that one.
yeah,
Honestly, and there was a lot of stuff in here I like. I love Valkyrie and everything that she's in. She needs her own movie, as far as I'm concerned, or series or something. I'd love to see a series about the whole Asgard on Earth.
yeah. New Asgard.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure.
I'll watch a series called New Asgard for
New
sure,
Asgard, sure.
with her as queen.
Yep.
The goats were funny.
The goats are okay.
I was fine with the goats and some of the stuff that happened to goats. And the comedy is really wacky, and I'm okay with that. I think they did it better in Ragnarok than they did here.
Agreed.
The comedy in Ragnarok, it's the same style and stuff, but they just went too far. And there's this thing that some directors have that they don't understand. They think, okay, we're in comic book world, anything can happen, anything I imagine, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, there are rules to these worlds. There's rules to all this stuff, and you're breaking them sometimes. And it doesn't, for fans that know these rules, it doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work correctly. And there's only one time that they kind of do it a little bit in Ragnarok, which is whenever whenever the guy's destroying all of Asgard, he does the joke with Korg where he's like, "It's okay, we can rebuild it," and then it explodes. He's like, "Oh, I guess we can't."
Right.
Like he throws a joke in a moment that should have been like an epic, like, "Oh man, that's gone," and that was a mistake. And he remade that mistake 100 times in this new one.
Yeah, I think the only thing that falls short in that argument is I'm not up with the comics. So, like, there could have been a panel where Korg says that while Surtur is, you know what I mean? And that was a little nod to the comic and the panel or whatever. And there could be, like, the whole Zeus thing. Like,
yeah,
I could have done without that entire thing. But there could be storyline in the comics when this is going on that they just gave a nod to it. And then, okay, fine, it makes sense. And you're giving us the panels in real life. Like, great. But as a movie without knowing, like, I don't think you need to know all the comics and every panel in all the comics and all the words in every panel of all the comics in order for some of these things to pay off. And they're there for, like, the uber fan that has read all of the Thor comics to have those moments like, oh, that was that thing. Great. But this was just
they went far off on a lot of this stuff. Like they did their own thing. And I'm not against that. Yeah. But I just don't think a lot of this paid off in a way because it just went too wacky for no reason.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think if this was Lady Thor's story, but I don't think she would have been able to handle Gore. They made Gore this ridiculously powerful god killer. So I don't think they would have matched up. I don't know how she would have fought her way out of that one.
That's another thing though, is this character and actor was killing it And then they kept putting jokes on top of his awesome acting.
Mhm.
And it's scenes like he could have, first of all, he steals children from the city. This is a scene where all the children from Asgard have been stolen, kidnapped by this evil god killer guy.
Yep.
And his story is how he became was epic and all that.
Right.
And on top of the scene, like of top of them doing this, they're throwing jokes and kidding around and goofing off and talking about their romance on the way there. Like it just didn't have the, it didn't have any realism in the characters whenever you do that. Whenever something happens that's traumatic and you don't have your characters act like they're traumatized from it, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
And that was a serious mistake in this one. It just made them feel very cartoony.
Yeah. I like TD. I like what he's been doing, but this one was not. Like, I don't know. I think it's better than Dark World, but I don't think it's better than original Thor.
It's more entertaining than Dark World. Dark World doesn't do anything to break characters or anything like that, but it also isn't that interesting.
Well, it's Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh did 1 and 2, and he's a very Shakespearean actor. Like he is very like straight edge. Like he does have his moments, but it was a totally different.
I think this one needed to be reined in some.
Yeah.
They should have like written all this out and stuff, and then read it and gone, okay, this is a bit much. Let's pull back some parts. Let's let some parts actually be interesting and deep and scary and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of awesome parts in this, and I've gone back and rewatched them. And I even like the fact that the bad guy wins.
Sure. Yeah.
Like this might be, well, I guess Thanos won in Infinity War, right? Yeah. So this is kind of a thing in Marvel. Like sometimes the bad guy can win.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting. He changes his mind at what he wants, but he did win. He got to where he wanted to.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that was cool.
All right. So then after that, Wakanda Forever. Talk about a total different feel, right? Oh man. This one had different layers to it.
It did.
So first of all, you got the entire funeral feel throughout the whole thing, right? Because it's her pain that she's feeling, which it just feels much more epic because it comes from a real place because we actually did lose the actor.
Right.
So it feels so much more real.
Yeah.
And it kind of is, I've seen clips of behind the scenes of her like crying and stuff because she's in that mode and she can't get herself out of the like acceptance mode because she's acting and living in it. So there was a lot of seriousness to this that I applaud as far as putting into a movie and stuff because it made it really feel strong and real. You don't normally see people's reactions. I wish we could see a reaction to Tony's death, like stuff like this. We kind of got that with Spider-Man a little bit, the way the second Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So but then there's the other thing.
Tony's paid off when it happened with Peter and with Pepper and with them there.
Yeah.
And then that funeral where the camera was panning through the hill and all the people were there, like that was that moment's payoff. Right. And then you had him come back in like AI form or like, there's other little nuances that have been happening. Yep. This was a much deeper, heavier feel. I think it had to be. I think it needed to be, and I think it worked really well.
Yeah. And well, let's talk about, besides taking all the part about kind of mourning the death of and all that stuff, let's put that aside and look at the Marvel story of this, which was Namor. First of all, I love the whole Aztec thing that they did with him because you don't see that in the comics. It's pointy ear, weird looking Spock guy. What was that?
He still had the feathers on his feet.
Yeah, that's a little weird, but it's fine. The thing that I really liked about the Namor character, though, is that you almost kind of understood where he was coming from, and he almost proved himself right with all stuff. Like everybody else is, you can't let people know we exist, and if you do, I have to kind of take you out because the minute people know we exist, they try to take us on, and you could see it happening. And yeah, I mean, I really like Marvel does a great job usually of creating bad guys that you go, yeah, I kind of get it. Like maybe they go too far, or they definitely go too far. That's what makes them villains. But I love villains that aren't just like, I'm mad about this, so I'm gonna do, blow stuff up. Like I like villains that have real reasons for their motives, and it feels
yeah. I think it was fine. I don't know. It was a little cheesy. I think the story felt I don't want to say rushed, but I don't want to say filler either. It just
there was a lot in it.
There was, and it jumped a couple times, and it didn't feel like a Black Panther story. It felt like it started turning into more of a love story, which was weird. But I don't know. As a whole, as a story, I loved what it was doing, and I think for me it fell short. Like the only thing I'd want to watch again if I ever wanted to fucking tear up is the ending.
Yeah.
Like holy fuck, it got you right in the gut. Yeah. Right, knowing those are the moments that were key in this for me. It wasn't about like her becoming Black Panther. Awesome. That scene where she drops in, he's like, "That's it, I'm it." Awesome. The build up to it, okay. But the weight that's carrying on throughout the movie, knowing what's going on, knowing like Denai getting kicked out, like that was rough. The queen doing the thing to be the queen, like I get it. But that ending, like knowing what had happened, knowing what was going on over the entire movie, and then having that scene end and then come back, like that tag was just a continuation of her sitting on the beach. And like I didn't expect that to happen. And when that did and the kid came out, it was just holy shit.
Yeah, I have two feel like it gave you the punch and you were like, oh man, but I kind of in general, I don't like the Turner and Hooch ending where they're like, yeah, we killed the dog, but he had puppies. Like, okay, but the dog's still dead. Like,
sure. I don't think they were taking away from the dog being dead.
No, I understand, but it's a thing that happened. It's a trope in movies. It happens a lot. Like, okay, yeah, we killed the main character, but it's okay. Groot 2's coming. It's this, they do it a lot. So I felt like whenever it showed, I was like, oh man, that's a strong moment and stuff. But afterwards, I was like, man, they do that all the time. So I had two different, mindset of it. But one of the really cool moments for me was whenever she becomes a Black Panther, she thinks she's going to see T'Challa, and instead she sees, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. Yeah. And he's like, no, you're seeing me because you're more like me than you are T'Challa. You're angry, you're full of blah, 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 revenge and stuff, and you want this power so that you could do this. And that's like a gut punch to her. She was like, oh, no, I don't want to be like that, right? So that was really cool with the character. Because she was all full of anger.
We're going in there thinking we were going to see him again.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe we would have had things been different. Obviously, they probably had a rewrite.
I mean, we know they have the technology to do it.
Right. But I think it was a better move that they did it the way they did it.
I was very happy that they did that. Yeah. All right, so those are all the movies that are in Phase 4. Which again, you're right. If we were to look at Phase 1 through 3 and stuff, you'd see just Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. And here we just got an individual movie, each one. And then the series, we've talked a lot about some of these series, so we can go past them pretty quickly. I mean, I don't remember what you said. I really love this series. I thought it was great.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah. And the people that I find that don't enjoy it are the people that don't identify with the shows that they are kind of playing with in the beginning, the first 4 episodes, where they're playing with the whole Dick Van Dyke feel and all that, and they go up every every decade or so into new ones. And if you don't identify with that and stuff, then I could see why it would be kind of weird and strange and just doesn't work for you. But I love the mystery of what's going on here feel for half of it. And then the payoff at the end I thought was great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything about it. I think it took a minute. I remember the first episode when it ended, I sat there, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell is this? And then the second one, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Then you start looking at like the realism, like, is it in her head? Is it not? Like, what's happening?
And there's little clues of stuff happening, and you're like, oh, that doesn't belong there. Yeah.
This one, when I was watching through it, I actually watched some of the episode prior to get back into the next episode, right? To see like,
just they were really short episodes too.
They were
like 20 minutes
up on a couple things because there was a lot going on, and when it happened, you were like, all right, wait, like you almost felt like you were not with it. It was really well done.
Yeah. And this is technically the first thing that happens in Wave 4. We covered movies first and then go into series, but this was the first thing they showed.
Right.
And this was after Endgame, and everyone was like, this is such a weird thing to do after Endgame, right? Oh. But yeah, really cool. And of course, we get the Monica Rambeau character that's coming up in the Marvels here. So,
and we get
Agatha. And Agatha, which will be coming up as well. Yeah.
And Vision,
right?
They're all there's all gonna be spin-offs or whatever. Like they're all gonna come back. There's gonna be way more in that coming forward, I think.
This one, when this came out, I think it was only like 2 or 3 weeks after WandaVision, right? Maybe not even that.
I think it was like it was right after. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. When this came out after the first episode, I was like, that was like watching a Captain America movie, only like an hour long instead. Like the quality of action and production and everything, I was like, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
And it paid off all the way through as far as I'm concerned. I like the bad guys. I like they don't even have her on this poster here, but I forget what her name was. She plays Enfys Nest in Star Wars, actually.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but yeah. And then, there's some iconic scenes in this series that I've gone back and watched. The shield bashing, so many geeks were so angry.
Yeah.
Facebook lit up. It's like, I can't believe it was sacrilegious to so many of us. It's just like, oh, blood on the shield. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole moment and everything. The betrayals and it's so well done. I need to watch the series again. Definitely.
Yeah, it was like you said it. It was like watching a movie. I think these two, the chemistry that these two have, the back and forth, the digs, the everything with the moving the seat up, like everything paid off really well with these two. I think it got a little too political. Like it was almost like they had an agenda and they wanted to push something forward and whatever. And if the director's choice or the writer's choice, like do what you want to do, there were moments that were just a little bit too far to one side for me to be like, this is a Marvel series, like stop. But
I think it would have been weird had it not gotten that direction though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would have felt like they were dodging the fact that he's black and representing America and what that all entails.
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
The way that they did all that was perfect, but the whole the political nature, not the race nature of it, I think. That worked really well because they had to address it, right? Like that's a thing people need to address anyway.
And it's still not 100%. Like it's still so nuanced with all different perspectives and stuff that made it really fascinating.
Yeah. I loved Baron. I loved these two on camera, like what was going on with them, the suit, everything. It was definitely there were lulls in it, like with the whole boat and the fishing boat and the having to sell it, not selling it, and I want to keep it, I want to fix it.
But those lulls still had them two kind of like bickering, going back and forth, and their little busting each other's chops and stuff, and that's fun.
Yeah,
it still feel like when you have lulls like that in storylines, if it's filled with characters that you enjoy, it's kind of okay for me.
Sure. It definitely helped, but I could have done without it. Kind of like the whole Zeus thing in Thor. Like I didn't really need to.
Yeah, but I don't like those characters, so that one didn't work, right?
Sure,
I didn't hear about that Zeus character and all that.
Yeah, I guess to point out, I guess the ending to the Thor movie, like Zeus is going to have a bigger role in the next one or come back, and
I guess with Hercules.
It was Hercules. Oh yeah, with Hercules. Yeah. But yeah, this one was great. This one I enjoyed watching.
By Roy Kent from Ted Lasso.
Yeah. This was a good one.
This was a great series.
Yeah, this was well done. It definitely had a movie feel to it. Like production value and everything was great. Holy shit, this was great.
This got better and better and better every episode. Like every episode was a step up from the last one.
Yeah.
And you had no idea, you couldn't predict where it was going. Mm-hmm. This was unpredictable. You were like, okay, oh, what? Now we're doing what? Like all this different stuff. And I loved all these characters too.
Yeah.
These characters were great.
Yeah.
Lots of great moments.
I think the Sylvie thing was a little bit predictable. I think you could tell that was going to happen.
Which thing?
Like at the end.
Oh.
Like when they're both together, like the betrayal that she did to him and got you knew that was going to happen because that was her goal, like to do.
Yeah, but it's done in a way that was predictable, but funny not funny, but like I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh, sure, because she got one over on Loki, on Tom Hiddleston's Loki. That was the best part about it. That he was totally like, wait a minute, I got tricked. How the hell did this happen?
Because it's Loki.
Yeah. This series, I can't wait for 2. This was
and
great.
the Kristen, the best part, like I said, each part was better and better and better. The last episode is a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's between them and He Who Remains, basically, Kang and all that. And that moment is, there are so many times in series where they gloss over the moment that people really want to see. Like when I'm talking about like someone's, Superman's held his secret from Lois Lane for many years. And now here's the scene where she finds out who he is and cut the commercial. And then they come back and we're like, oh, you never told me this. Like you miss all of the conversation that you've been dying to and imagining in your head of what would happen. And no writer has ever realized people actually wouldn't mind 20 minutes of conversation if it's fascinating conversation that we've been wanting to hear. And this whole thing leads to, it really is like 20 minutes of them just talking to each other. Yeah. Now, of course, there's cool stuff where he's like disappearing, reappearing, and laughing at him, and all this stuff. But I've never seen anybody have the balls to write to just have people talk for 20 minutes in something like this. It was great. It was amazing. Paid off so well.
It really sucks that he's done whatever I haven't read anything, but the fact that they're talking about recasting, or he's got himself kind of like what Ezra Miller did with The Flash. The actor got himself into some hot water with something. Oh,
really? I didn't know that.
Because
that's too bad. I love that actor. He's
not
amazing.
Too much of a, yeah.
That is craft. I don't know anything about him personally, but he's amazing.
I didn't watch Lovecraft Country, and I think
I did, and it was incredible. Yes.
But that scene that you're talking about, when we first meet Kang, or He Who Shall, whatever.
He Who Remains, yeah.
He Who Remains. When we meet him for the first time, and he's like, yeah, just come with me, like come in the elevator and whatever. From that moment till the end, he does such a great job portraying, like basically like both sides of that character in front of us, and it's bonkers good. And then fast forward a little bit to Quantumania, he's as good as he was in Loki, just more direct, right? More one character, more direct.
Yeah.
Same kind of delivery for Kang, and it's a different character that he's delivering, but he does the same thing. And it's just like when we first meet him and he's like, "Where am I?" And then, he's talking with what's her name? Van Dyne about, putting the thing back together. Like that character, he's so good at what's going on there that I hope whatever happens, like it works itself out and he is just Kang, because he brings that character so much depth.
Yeah, I agree.
That whole scene, that when he's on the desk and he's talking to them, and you can even tell like they look like students to him, like listening to what he has to say as actors portraying characters.
Yeah.
They look like they are just listening to what he has to say, because what he has to say is so fucking important. And
there are a lot of, I just recently read one, but there's a lot of stories where the hero finally makes it to talk to the devil or the big bad or the whoever it is, and all they do is tell them the truth, and it wrecks their world. And all they had to do was just tell them the truth, and that was it. And that's what that whole scene is. Tells them the whole truth, lays it out in front of them, never lies,
not a lie,
and that's what wrecks them. Like it's so good,
so well done. I'm very, very excited for the second one.
This might be my favorite. This is my favorite series of the Wave. So I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, because what other series are there?
Well, we just saw 3 of them. We
saw
WandaVision, we saw Falcon, there's Loki, there's What If.
But before WandaVision, what was there?
Nothing. WandaVision was the first series.
That was the first one. Yeah.
Okay. So What If comes afterwards, and we kind of mentioned this a little bit with Doctor Strange, is that you have your evil Doctor Strange and all that stuff. My favorite thing about this is that they don't tell you that it's connected to the MCU.
Right.
And then it ends up being connected to the MCU, and you're like, okay, that was amazing.
Yeah.
What they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Britain.
Yeah. At least 2 ways, right? Captain Britain and Strange. At least those 2.
Seeing Killmonger again was pretty cool, and how he thought of things and stuff. Like you couldn't trust him and all that. Seeing T'Challa,
the character voices.
Yes.
Like hearing them again.
That was amazing. Yeah. These were great. They were amazing shows. And I know a lot of people were like, I'm not going to watch it because it's not part of the MCU. And I was like, I didn't want to spoil anything. You can't spoil it. But I was like, just watch it. Just watch it, please. It's not like Star Wars Legends. It really is connected, but you can't say that.
Well, you can. You can say it's connected without ruining anything.
It's a spoil. It's for me. It's a spoil because when you first watch it, the first one is Captain Britain one. And she get pulled into a thing with tentacles, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, that was pretty awesome. It was really awesome, actually. I really enjoyed that because I was a big fan of Carter, the Agent Carter series. And I was happy to see all that. So, but and then the second one was the Doctor Strange one.
I think so.
It was either that or the T'Challa in space.
Could have been Star-Lord. Yeah.
But yeah, then it's slowly you're like, oh, but whenever it gets to the Doctor Strange and he's in his little bubble and all that stuff, oh man, yeah, it was just so good.
Well, that's a direct rip from the story, right? Like what we get in the Doctor Strange episode of What If is like pulling from that, and then it's What If, right? Like it really takes off.
So after that, we got Hawkeye, which was, it was like kind of like a Die Hard series in a way because it's during Christmas and there's action. He's calling his family, blah, blah, blah. I love that part of it. The characters were great. We got Yolanda again, talk about rewatching scenes. I've rewatched the scenes between her and what's her name? Lady Hawkeye.
Kate Bishop.
Yeah, Kate. I've watched them 2 together where she's eating the macaroni and all that. By the way, I saw her talking about that scene.
Yeah.
And she said, as an actor, whenever you see people at a dinner table, they're always just kind of moving the food around and stuff because you're sitting there forever. You don't want to sit there and eat and get full and all that. But she said when they started that, she was like, yeah, actually, like, cook it in there. I'm probably going to eat some of it. And she was like, oh, man, this is good. And she was like wolfing it down during the scene. Yeah. And at some point, she picks up hot sauce and puts it in. That was not in the thing at all. Someone had just put hot sauce there. And she said, is this real hot sauce? Okay. She picks it up and just puts it in there and starts eating it together. Like, she was just like in the moment, just wolfing down the food and talking. That's why her mouth is full. It's so good. It's hilarious.
That's neat.
But the elevator scene with them, where Kate like hits all the bunch of, so annoying. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was good. I think it felt like a TV series, not a Marvel series.
That's true. I could see that.
It felt.
I mean, you didn't have any powered people really, so
no. But even some of the scenes, like the jumping from buildings or landing on rooftops or whatever, kind of felt like compared to Winter Soldier, compared to Loki, compared to true. Like it didn't feel like it had as epic of a budget on-screen presence. Yeah, a budget.
I could see that.
But I think I love Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. I love him as a individual, but I love him as Hawkeye. I think Kate was a little bit over the top, but I think that's just her character. Again, I'm not familiar with her, but I think it was just her character. Maybe not the actress, just the character. I think having Elena in there, I think, the whole thing with Echo and everything was really, it was good. And the ending, like, holy shit, to have that whole thing happen.
A Kingpin coming in from the Daredevil series. I was like, oh my God, because I love him as a villain. He's one of my favorite villains.
Yep, and it's D'Onofrio, and like all of that was like, yep, this is good. So it didn't feel as epic as some of the others, but it was still a good story.
You know what's great about this is we're going to talk about the Daredevil Reborn or whatever it's called is coming with Matt Murdock and stuff. You could have her show up.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes or something. Like, I hope there's some crossover. We need some crossover here. We need connectivity,
You get some crossover in the next series.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the next series is Moon Knight. We didn't get any crossover. This is actually one of my only few things I didn't like about this is that it was so separate from MCU. It didn't have to be MCU. They never even talked about anything else. Mm-hmm. They never talked about the blip. They never talked about, Eternals or anything else. Yep. You don't have to talk about Eternals, but they didn't talk about anything else going on in the world. It was as if it was its own thing. It would have been nice if something got mixed in a little bit. I don't need guest stars or anything, but if you just mention, remember the blip,
Well, also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a little bit of time travel in this one, yeah?
Is there?
When they were like controlling the stars and moving the shit around?
Oh, sure. But I think they just like move things back a few days or so. I think they only move a few days or something like that.
Yeah, but if they can move a few days, can't they move a little bit longer?
Sure. I guess.
It's just weird.
But, yeah. I think those were it. Yeah. So Oscar Isaac's performance is really what saves this whole thing, really. I mean, not saves it, but I mean, like, brings it up to the next level, right?
He is amazing.
And I like Ethan Hawke too. I just don't think they did he's a better actor than what they gave him to work with, I think, in here. He's this character is very like even keel, not a lot of like, yes, blah, blah, blah. No, sure. Like, he doesn't have a lot to do with his acting skills in this because he's a really great actor.
Yeah. It seemed okay. I like the lore. I like the myth. I liked what it created. I loved him as a character. I hope we get more because the way they ended it with that third personality, like that needs to fourth personality. Is it the fourth?
At least.
Right, because we've seen...
Yeah, at least, because he has another one. And then there was someone else that was, like, locked in a coffin. It's been a while since I saw the series, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I hope there's more. I did enjoy it. I think it was a step up from Hawkeye in presentation. But yeah, like you said, it was kind of weird that it was just by itself. Sorry, Luca's kind of twirling around. He went back to bed. Yeah, it felt weird that it was so off by itself.
It felt so separate, but as a separate thing, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a tie-in. I mean, there should be something that brings Moon Knight into the.
That'd be interesting.
You, but there'll be something. There's got to be something.
Miss Marvel. I thought it was great. The first episode, I was like, okay, it's kind of like went a little teenager-y here, but okay. Yeah. And then by the second episode, I was sold. I was like, I knew what I was into, and it was hilarious. Her whole personality, her character is her. Yeah. If you see her in interviews and stuff, she has pictures of her dressed like Captain Marvel years before anything was ever done for this.
Yeah.
Just like Tom Holland has pictures of him as a little Spider-Man kid and stuff. Yeah. And I love it when the actors love the world that they're in, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like, oh, good, you're a fan like me. Like,
yeah. I just saw an article. I guess she just wrote her own Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel. He's moving around again. Don't get up. Are you getting up? I might have to go get him. Oh wait, no, he fell back asleep. She wrote her own Miss Marvel comic.
Oh wow!
So there's an image and a story. Her comic that she just wrote is for sale at the comic shop she used to go to buy her comics.
That's insane.
There's a picture of her with the wall and her comic on there, and it's the shop she used to go to when she was younger, buying comics from the shop before she was Miss Marvel. It's pretty neat.
It's great seeing geeks like yourself enjoy,
right?
The people who love what you love then become a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great series. And I actually really like the I just noticed her fingernails are different colors. I actually really love the dive into their culture.
Yeah.
Kind of like I love seeing that kind of stuff. Same thing goes for Moon Knight. The Egyptian culture and stuff like that was interesting.
Well, that's another thing. Like when you think about, and we've talked so much about Star Wars and how all the movies, like they present you a different type of movie, right? Solo's a heist movie, and you can look at it differently. The way that they do these, right, with the Egyptian culture and the Hindi culture, and like it's really cool that they're not all the same type of character. Like you said, Namor earlier. And the Aztec culture, like, it's really cool that it's more global than just,
Yeah. It's not. I mean, I love the fact that it's bringing in more diversity and stuff. But from my own perspective, it's also nice for me to see things that I'm not as familiar with. Like I enjoy that kind of thing as a viewer. So. Yeah.
The only thing is, hopefully, they're doing their due diligence on their side to fact check and make sure, like that. That pass.
I can't imagine that they weren't. Yeah.
No, they have to, and it's a movie, so you can take liberties in what you're portraying. But when you take a flashback scene like they had in Miss Marvel, and you go back in time and you go to like what was really happening, hopefully that was really happening, not Marvel lore, because they presented it as if the thing that was really going on at the time. And
it was, yeah. And then we get She-Hulk, which I mean, it definitely breaks the fourth wall, like right off the bat, and goes in such a strong way that I thought, oh man, people are going to hate this, aren't they? And a lot of people might have, but the people I thought didn't. And I was amazed at how well people were talking about how they liked it. I know there are people that don't, but it's so much fewer than I thought. And I'm happy for it because I love this series.
It was a surprise. It was a shock. More, I guess, more in line with Miss Marvel. I didn't think I would like either of them. Just I didn't know Miss Marvel as a character, so it was nice to learn about a new character that I really had no prior knowledge with. And She-Hulk, I really had no interest in. It was just there was Hulk and there was She-Hulk, and I feel like they just made a character out of it. And to get the backstory of who she was, and it was really neat. And the writing and the jokes and the just what they did in that series to like shed light on like stop being a fucking douchebag. It was great. It was really well done.
Yeah. And it's also, as I understand it, because I was mostly X-Men with Marvel and stuff. So I never read any She-Hulk ones, but I've looked back since then, and I found that she broke the fourth wall all the time in the comic books. So it fits just like Deadpool did,
right?
So it fits and stuff, which is great. So I really liked it. Yeah.
And this is I was talking about earlier. This is where we get that wicked crossover with
Daredevil.
Daredevil, right? Like they're a thing. Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Him in his yellow suit too. That was a fun little Easter egg because there's a little while for Daredevil being in yellow, which is weird. I don't know why they did that, but sometimes they just feel like playing with costumes. But
sure, it's also like I said, comic fans and little Easter eggs and like, cool to see. But yeah, this series, everything down to having Ruffalo in it, like teaching her how to deal with her powers and her just being so much better than him and him being like, I don't even like
this actress, by the way, I knew she had the chops beforehand because of Black Orphan, I think it's called. I saw the first like 2 seasons of it and I thought, oh wow, this actress can like really, I don't know if you ever saw it or not, but she plays like it goes in weird places, but she plays a person who has been cloned whenever she was a kid. And she plays a bunch of different versions of herself. She starts finding her other clones and meeting them.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to it and stuff, but she's the main character, so it's but yeah, her ability to be a different person is astounding. So I knew she had the acting chops for this, and she paid off. So this is what I was saying at the beginning. I've only seen 3 episodes out of the 6. They're only 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
But they're funny.
Yeah. They're cute.
Yeah, I thought when I saw it, I thought that it was going to be like a kid's thing. So that's why I didn't see it at first.
Yeah.
But no,
I think it's just like little. They are kids related. They're not. I mean, they're cute. I don't know what. Like they're little bits of stuff that's happening.
It feels like how like it feels like in scenes, like at the end of a credits, so you do something like a little funny thing.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like, and they're funny. So but there's a season 2 coming.
There is. They actually. So I love when I go to Target. They have those little Grogu boxes. He's got a bunch of them in the living room. I'm not gonna go get them now. They have Groot ones.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they're in like a little what looks like a little like a eco-friendly box with a little green string, like a handle, like you're taking a little plant home. And then they're no longer blind boxes. You know which one you're getting, but they have them from this series, so it's cute.
That's cute.
Yeah.
So then we get Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. I'm willing to bet that you didn't like this.
Not at all.
But I loved it. I loved it. Okay. So we're going to disagree on this one.
Nope. Did not.
Okay. Was it too wacky for you? Did they go too wacky?
I mean, it's almost as if they were like, look, Star Wars has this holiday special that's frowned upon. Let's do one of our own.
I think they kind of did. But this one was hilarious.
Hilarious?
It was a big joke. It was a big comedy bit.
Yeah, no, I get it. But then you got the whole Rocket getting Bucky's arm. Like, where did that come from?
Oh, yeah. Nebula got it for him, right?
Right, but like, what did that do? Where is this in the MCU in the timeline? And he had his arm. So what?
Yeah, I think you're over. I think this is a holiday special.
No.
There's a few rule breaking that you can do here.
No,
Bending
no.
rules. You could bend some rules here.
It's
It's got
MCU. It's
Kevin Bacon in it. You can bend some rules.
Yeah, this was a stretch for me.
Holiday specials bend rules. That's
yeah, but then then the end was like, guess we have to do another holiday special. Like, no, you don't. Please don't do another one.
Do another one.
Oh,
there were some good moments in this, and also the whole reveal that she is Quill's half sister.
Sure,
that was nice. That was really nice, and it comes into play later.
It does, and I think, I mean, it was intentional. Or now the battery's going to die on this thing. I think whether it was intentional or not, I think that was fine. But my takeaway from this, and where I chuckled, was when, like, Drax just being Drax, and then Mantis losing her shit. And they would just yell at each other. Like, they'd say something, and it would be something stupid as a comment, and they would just yell at them. And it really, you get a lot of it in Guardians 3 too, but it really gave the whole dysfunctional family as a family more light, right? The way that they're just up each other's asses and yelling at each other and frustrating each other, but they love each other. I think that was my takeaway from it. Other than that, it was like, blah.
Well, I enjoyed it. I knew that it was going to go wacky, though, so my expectations were that.
Ooh.
Rewatch it again, knowing what the expectations are. See what you think.
Not going to do that.
That's too bad. Werewolf by Night. This was fun.
He's up again.
No. I bet you a lot of people have missed this one.
Yes. Yeah, talk about it. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. So Werewolf by Night. I bet you a lot of people have missed this one. This is like it's a totally separate feel thing. It does not really feel like it's part of the MCU, but I guess technically it is. It says it right there, Marvel Studios. But yeah, this character shows up. It's very like old horror feeling, and all these guys show up. Different people show up to hunt the beast, the werewolf, or whatever. And it's some kind of like, I guess it's like a contest that they're trying to accomplish and win. And I guess if you saw this part and you thought, oh, I haven't seen this, and you mute it, then you're not getting any of this. But I'm trying not to give any away in this case, because I'm willing to bet a lot of people haven't seen this. So if you are listening to this and you haven't seen it, I would give it a chance. I think it's pretty short, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and it's only one thing. It's just a one small bit. But it feels like a graphic novel kind of thing, one thing off by itself, but it's such a great little story. Hi, Luca. What you think of Werewolf by Night, Luca? Yeah. I just kind of explained what Werewolf by Night was without spoiling it, in case people haven't seen it, because I'm willing to bet this is the one most people miss. Right?
Yeah, it's fairly new. Well, I guess fairly new considered based on all the other. But yeah, I think this might be one that more people passed on.
Yeah, it's not superhero-y. It's like old 60s horror feel, right? Like it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it right in the beginning, right? They nod to the heroes of the Earth, right?
Sure.
And then they go darker, but it's got the pop, like the crackle of the film. It's very like the scenery and the angles, the film filmography, whatever that word is.
Yeah, they get that Hitchcock feel sometimes. Not Hitchcock, but like that over the shoulder looks and dramatic lighting and stuff. Yeah. It's really well done. Yeah.
This is another one that I'm not familiar with the IP, but it is a Marvel comic.
Right.
And I heard you when I was coming down the stairs. I heard you say, I think it was just under 45 minutes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Thing. And it gets going quickly.
And it's just one episode. It's just one thing by
It's
itself.
yeah, it's a special presentation, just like the holiday thing was.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this immediately when it started, I was like, "Yep, I want more of this. Like, I want that feel. I want like that Bela Lugosi kind of like old school kind of feel." And they did a really good job. It was a fun story. I wish there was a little bit more, but for 45 minutes, you can't really have too much. But yeah, it was good. It was really well done.
All right, Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of funny. You know what? It almost feels a little bit like the Thor: Love and Thunder bit, where it kind of went all over the place. Like there were some good scenes, but there was also some weird wackiness.
Yes.
Did you not like it at all?
No, I liked it. I think I went into it expecting more from it. Right, because the trailers and the storyline, right? They're in the. I get where they are. They're in the quantum realm. Okay, fine. You get the story of like Kang the Conqueror being down there and stuck down there. Like that's awesome, and that was epic, and all the scenes were great. And then you got this one weird fucking monster talking about how he doesn't have holes, and it was like, wait, how many holes do you have? And I'm like, I don't know what to take out of this movie. Like, is there some serious shit about to happen, or am I going to be laughing at these weird looking monsters? Like it was definitely it wasn't expecting what I got out of it, and I don't know how I feel about it because it was just a few days ago, I guess last weekend, so a week ago. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I brought up Thor: Love and Thunder, because it feels like a lot of weird mixtures of, okay, this is serious, cool action moment, and then here's what's his name, Modar, you know, the Squitch guy that was from Ant-Man and the original Ant-Man.
MODOK,
yeah. And they threw him in there. It was like really weird. Like, why did you do that? I'm not sure.
Well,
I don't know.
The payoff there was when he shrunk him in his daughter's bedroom, right? They answered the question of how he got there.
No, yeah, I know how he got there.
I had to answer it because where did he go, right? What happened
to be there?
I mean, he could have been there himself. I don't know why he had baby legs and everything.
Well, because they wanted to bring MODOK in, basically.
I get that, but everyone else shrunk down and entered the quantum realm, and they don't have baby legs.
Well, he said that Kang used his technology to save him, and that's why he was working for Kang and all that stuff. My biggest problem with this was that we were told, "Hey, Matt, Matt. we're doing Sunday because we're not doing Monday, so we're talking Marvel and stuff. So we're up to Quantum Mania here." My biggest problem was that we were promised this epic Thanos-like baddie that was coming along. What's going? Fell asleep. We were promised this big epic Thanos-like baddie, and they stuck him in a jar where he couldn't do much, but like piss off a molecule, as far as we're concerned. Like it happened in this contained little world that didn't affect anything. Again, right? Yeah. What is it with at the end of Endgame? Everything afterwards feels like it's so separate from each other. Yeah. I don't like it. Tie things together.
Well, I think this is kind of like a bridge to like when everything is going to be tied together, right? Because Kang gets out, there's going to be the Legion of Kangs or whatever they're calling it, and
yeah, that was cool.
Loki is going to deal with a lot of the residual of what happens now. So like maybe there's this kind of weird thing where they introduce characters, some shit's going to happen, and then it's all going to, like I said with Black Widow, like you gave us a whole bunch of stuff, and sure it was like this side story of her. But you gave us all these other characters that just didn't. It didn't do, like Shang-Chi. It just didn't do anything.
They've waited years to do something with it instead of like you used to get the payoff a lot faster, right? Yeah, like next year, here's a movie with new stuff. Yeah.
But remember, a lot of this stuff was in production or being recorded or filmed or whatever during like a weird time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We should give them some leeway there. That there were some issues in the world that happened during this. So,
but even during filming, like somebody tests and they had to shut down filming, right? And then they come back to filming and someone tests and then they had to shut down filming. So everything is taking a little bit longer because of all of that. But it still doesn't answer stuff. Like it's just there. And it's weird that now that they can kind of give us, like, here's Guardians, they can give us more with some payoff or have some things pay off. Even in the end, like there are plenty of credits and end scene credits, movie credits, tags at the end that don't have anything to do with the movie that are there to give us a tease of something else. So you can give us Shang-Chi at the end of one of these things. It doesn't have to be related to the movie. It can just be there to be like, oh yeah, remember this thing we gave you? Guess what? Like something's good. But there hasn't been any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then
okay. So let's talk about this one because I've got many feelings on this one.
Okay.
So first of all, for those that don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my favorite MCU movie ever. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is my second favorite. This movie is near the bottom of the entire list.
It's your third favorite?
No, it's at the bottom of the entire MCU list for me. It's like down there with the Hulk and Loki and Thor 2 and Iron Man 3. And here's why. Because they have all this animal gross cruelty crap in there that's just like, why? Why are you putting this in here? Like spending 15 minutes of me watching them like torture baby rabbits or something. Like, I don't need this to know that the guy's a bad guy. Just tell me he's a bad guy and move on.
Right.
But instead, they just have all this like gross stuff. I'm like waiting to get past. I'm like, okay, now I'm past. Now we're okay. Here we are. Guardians, funny little lines. More animal cruelty to watch. Okay, more of this, and it was just like, it was like dragging me down the whole time. I hated it. Yeah. And there were a lot of great moments in this that weren't that. If you take all of that out, if I can edit all of that out and just like hint at certain parts so that you get the storyline. We already knew that he was tortured as a little, animal and then all this stuff. We didn't need all that backstory of his best friend, spoilers, his best friends being killed and little baby raccoons and all this stuff. Like, we didn't need all that stuff. That was just harsh cruelty that I didn't need to see. And it just made me not enjoy the thing.
Well, kind of like going into Love and Thunder, not ready or not prepared for the cancer story.
Right. If that were to hit you, I mean, some people affected different ways and different things. If that hits you in a different way, and you didn't realize that was coming, that could be an issue too. Yeah.
Sure. But I agree. I think there was like, I hated that guy. So those scenes did the right, like they did the right thing because I wanted to see worse happen to him by the end of the movie. Right. Like that. Great.
Yeah, sure.
But it was a little excessive.
Well, and there's my other, one of my many other issues with this movie was at the end, he's like, no, I'm not going to kill him because of my Guardians of the Galaxy. Kill him. No, kill him.
Just kill him.
Like, I hate that shit. You killed 100 people to get to him. And then, I'm a good guy. I don't kill people. Yeah, don't be Arrow. Don't be that stupid thing. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. There were the two things with me for this one, and the movie was fine. It wasn't great. It was more aggravating at parts than not. But Peter being out in space for that long, like bloated and whatever, and then comes back and like that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the space. I mean, technically, you can live in space for like 15 seconds or something like that, right?
It was way longer than 15 seconds. Who is this guy?
I don't
know. The other thing is I couldn't get over Groot looking like Times Square, like kind of.
I understand they wanted him to look different from the other Groot and stuff, but I don't think it was aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It wasn't 2. It definitely was nowhere near 1. But I agree with you with 2. 2 hits hard for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now there were a lot of great stuff about this show. I like talking about that stuff. Like I said, I don't want to yuck people's yum. If they really enjoyed the show, that's great. That's their subjective thing and all. But yeah, we already covered Wakanda, but that was a great movie. We're like kind of going in time order at this point, I think. Yeah. But just answering a comment. So some of the stuff I loved about this, I liked what's his name? Starts with a K. Has the thing up there, the whistle. He's trying to get the whistling thing going. Help me out. Comments. Try to tell me what his name is. Like it's driving me crazy now. I know. I love that Nebula's like part of the family now. Like that feels really good. I actually really applaud the fact that they didn't have Gamora get with him. Like it was more like he had to just learn to accept that his Gamora was dead and she gets to live her own life. Like she doesn't have to go like, I guess I'm with this guy because my pet, like that would have felt weird and like fake to do.
Yeah, but you saw the way that it ended, right? Like you can interpret, but
sure. But I mean, I like the fact that it was different for them, right? Like it wasn't the same thing and all that. So yeah, there was a lot of this that I did like. I just, didn't like some of the other stuff. But it was kind of and it was a bigger letdown for me because of the other two being my favorite MCUs, right?
Sure.
So,
but there was with the holiday special, like getting more of that dysfunctional family as a family thing, and the thinking Drax is stupid. Meanwhile, Kraglin. There you go. Meanwhile, he's not stupid, right? They're just, and then the yelling back and forth, and it's calm, and then a calm response, and then immediate attack and yelling by Mantis. Like there were fun moments, and they portrayed the character really well. If it's the last time we see all of them together, it was an okay send off. It's going to be neat to see whatever the hell they do with Peter in his series.
Because they say he's coming back, so that'll be interesting.
At the end, yeah.
One minor nitpick about the Peter Quill thing is that they took away his mask and his jetpack.
Yeah,
that he's had in episodes 1 and 2. They took it away so that they could have the scene where he's in space, bloated. Like the minute he goes and see, like, oh, good, he could just hit the button. Or, why aren't you hitting the button? Where's your spacesuit that you always wear at all times?
Yeah.
Where is that? And then like he's, I got to jump out of this window. Oh, good, he has a jetpack, rockets or whatever, so he'll be fine. Oh no, you want to do this Groot has wings thing that wouldn't work scientifically, really. But I guess you could say Groot wouldn't work scientifically anyway. But anyway, that's a nitpick. But he has his own flying ability. Like he didn't need that. I don't know. It just felt very kind of. I know somebody asked him, and he was like, "Well, he just left him at home." Like that feels poorly written to me.
No, like it would at least been on the ship or something.
I mean, that's part of his uniform. Everybody else has their stuff.
Yeah.
He even has his guns. Why can't he have his? I don't know.
Yeah,
we're not on that pick, but let's move on to some other stuff. So we haven't even talked about this. I don't even know how you feel about Secret Invasion. And again, if you haven't seen the series, you can mute this until we move on to the next parts and stuff. But this is the last thing. We're now in phase 5, I believe. But this is the first thing that was in phase 5 was Ant-Man. So this is the first series in phase 5.
Wait, Guardians was phase 5?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was phase 5. Yeah, Ant-Man started phase 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think of this series?
I liked it. It was different. I couldn't wrap my head around it. The only thing I didn't like about it was Nick Fury.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they just did him dirty. I think they gave him like this shitty character storyline. It just didn't really like taking Maria Hill away and having him go through what he was going through and having Rhodey, not Rhodey, fire him. Like it was just kind of like I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, oh, you were gone, and then this love interest that he had where he was married and like it was all I don't know what it was doing to him. I like the story. I love the Secret Invasion story, but I think, and I talked to Keith about this because Keith, we might have talked about it when he was on the show, but he ran a comic book class in English high school, and he even said like during the comics when Secret Invasion started, that's when he stopped because it was like, well, anybody could have been anybody, no one's really dead, nothing matters, and it was like, okay, well. And they kind of did that, not to that extreme, but it was fine. It was fine. The way they did it was fine. I don't like what they did with Fury's character overall.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have a series like this and not have, oh, this person isn't really this person moments and stuff. Right. But you're right. There was I thought, again, spoilers for this series, but I thought by episode 2, they'd killed Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like you get this big actress and you kill her in the second. Wow, you never know what's going to happen. And in episode 3, she's alive again. You're like,
sure.
What?
But then the problem with
it was kind of cool how they did it, but now she's the most powerful being in all the universe.
Yep.
And that's too much. They went a little too Superman with this one.
Yeah, they got another Superman problem. I'm a Superman fan for other reasons than Superman being a great comic book character. But they have a Superman problem on their hands because now she's just also, and I saw something about it because I'm like, wait a minute, what did that mean kind of thing? And they had this whole layout of like all the powers that she got. Okay, how did she shrink?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of those powers.
Nope.
Then I'm like, wait, how does that work? Wait, you shouldn't be able to do that.
No, she doesn't have Ant-Man's powers.
Right.
She doesn't have Pym particles. So how did she shrink?
Right. Ant-Man doesn't have powers.
Right.
She should be able to make funny puns.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That felt comic book rules all of a sudden. Instead of reality, so I didn't like that.
Overall, there's a problem because she's too powerful.
Yeah,
but when you look at the I don't know the finer details, like she doesn't have Pym particles, so I don't know how that happens. But yeah, they got a problem with her.
Is there another character she could have gotten it from? Maybe I mean Groot can change his size, maybe, but it wasn't that.
No, Groot doesn't get shorter. He just makes himself bigger.
Yeah, I know. There was some bits to it that there needs to be. It seems like Kevin Feige should have been the one to be like, "Oh no, you can't do that because blah blah blah." Right? There needs to be somebody in there saying, "Here's the rules of the comic book world," and all those rules have been broken this phase. Up until this phase, some of the stories, some of the movies and stuff happened, but up until this phase, I felt like, they're following the rules of the comic book world that they live in, the universe and all that. And now it feels like, oh, we got a multiverse. We can do whatever we want and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not a fan of that. I want there needs to be still some rules to a universe. Otherwise, it's just whatever anybody wants to write. And that's not fun.
They need to find their Dave Filoni.
Yeah, they need somebody to come back and write it a little bit and be like, no, none of this, Zeus character, that's too much. None of this over here, none of that over there, Need someone to guide it a little bit more strongly than it is now. So, but I really like the series though. It was overall, other than that nitpick near the end, but. So the next thing that comes after this is the last thing that has been made or produced at this point.
Right.
So the next thing coming in November is the Marvels.
Yeah.
Right. So you got Monica Rambeau. You got I don't know what her superhero character is going to be. I think they say it in a trailer, but I haven't watched the trailer.
It's Oh my
And
God.
it is a comic character. I just can't remember what it is. But you got Miss Marvel and you got Captain Marvel. Huh?
We know her character. We know it in Wakanda in WandaVision.
Yeah, but they don't say what her special ability, like her special name is. You know,
No,
like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
She can bend elements. She can. We know what she does. We know what she does.
Sure.
She can take. What is it? Atoms and molecules and electrons and shit, and she can bend them. Not bend reality, but bend like physics.
Yeah. I was just looking to see if they gave her name on this intro, but they don't. So it's just Monica Rambeau, as far as I know.
No, we know her name. We know her name.
But yeah, she gets her powers from WandaVision, basically.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And all three of them get their powers from. Well, two of them get their powers from Infinity Stone. In a way, but Miss Marvel doesn't. She's a mutant, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
that's the first time that's been added.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought she got her powers from the hold on, buddy. I thought she got her powers from her gauntlet or her whatever.
She does, but she's the only one that can use them because she's a mutant. And they say that in the last episode.
Oh, I didn't.
And she's like, what? And then they cut the credits. And you're like, oh, they use the word mutant. What does that even mean in the MCU?
I didn't even hear that.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, go back and watch the last scene.
Why are you calling?
So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. I mean, we know pretty much nothing, next to nothing to these stuff. We know that Deadpool 3 is coming in and being part of the MCU now.
I'm very much looking forward to if all the rumors are true.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other things like cameos they're talking about because he's gonna break the MCU and like everything is gonna happen. So there's been a lot of like this is gonna happen kind of moments.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know that there's going to be a Wolverine. Obviously, there's the 3 slashes across it and everything.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
And then we got the Captain America movie coming on.
Yeah, World Beyond.
Brave New World. Brave New World. Yeah. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's kind of neat to see a U.S. agent in the back there as well.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. I'm curious to see how they're going to write in Thaddeus's role with Harrison Ford now. How he's going to play a role in this. Are we going to see Red Hulk eventually? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. And then Thunderbolts, you kind of mentioned this earlier on. I'm in already just from the people that I see. I mean, for a second there, I was like, "Who's the person?" And the second to the left, but I forgot that was the ghost from the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Nice to see what they do with Taskmaster. The only character I really don't like is Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character.
I like her character. I thought she was funny.
I'm not a fan. I think she's
like the Waller of Marvel, right? Amanda Waller. And then we got Blade coming up, which is probably going to be its own side thing. Probably, another side thing that's not connected. Maybe. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. A whole world full of vampires and stuff. It doesn't fit in with the MCU.
Well, now I did the Werewolf by Night, but
yeah.
I mean, technically, I don't know how they're going to pay that off.
They could connect that, sure. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think
Loki season 2.
I'm going to go into Blade with a lower expectation because I loved Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Yeah.
I just like that movie.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how Waititi does that one. But
Loki season 2 is going to be good.
I think
you like who?
Ali.
Oh.
I think he's going to be whatever they do. I think he's going to be amazing as Blade. But we'll see what the story does.
It'll be hard not to compare.
Sure, for sure.
Loki season 2 is going to be awesome. We already kind of talked about that.
Oh God, I can't.
What if season 2? I don't even know what they're going to do with this.
Oh wait, Loki. What was Loki the tag of? Was that Guardians, or was that Ant-Man? That was Ant-Man.
That was Ant-Man. Yep.
So we already saw Mobius and him in the So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Funny.
But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with season 2. What if?
What if?
I hope it's like other stories that didn't connect or something. That
Sure, yeah. Well, the What If, I don't know if you ever read the What If comics, but the What If comics were wonderful.
Sporadically, just like, ooh, this one looks interesting.
So much fun. They were really cool.
Echo, we know this character from Hawkeye. We talked about her a little bit and stuff, but I don't know what they're going to do with it.
No,
maybe it's going to be more Kingpin stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, Hell's Kitchen. You might see a little bit more Daredevil entering in and doing something. You might see the Hand might not be involved. Elektra might come in. They could bring in a couple things during the Echo series, because I don't know if that's going to be a strong series without that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Ironheart. I don't know what they're going to do, but
yeah,
it's going to be good, I bet.
Didn't we already saw her though, right?
I don't think so. I don't think they've released anything about it.
Isn't she the character in Wakanda?
Oh, yeah, with the
like she was building the suit in the garage, and then she ends up helping.
Dominic Thorne as Riri Williams, a genius inventor who creates the most advanced suit of armor. Yeah.
So we've already seen Ironheart.
That's true. But I mean, I don't know what the series is going to be like and stuff. So.
Yep.
Agatha, we talked about that. Seems like forever since this, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, they should have jumped on this even sooner. It's been years and years since.
I think they're still kind of putting it all together, but I like the last graphic I saw. It had, and I don't know how this is going to tie in, but it had what looked like the Infinity Stones as witches. So you had the green witch, the purple witch, the yellow witch, the orange, whatever they were called, but it gave me a very Infinity Stone vibe.
Coven of Chaos.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think she's great as an actress. I think it's going to be a good series.
And then, of course, the Daredevil Born Again. Such a good job. Man, I hope they bring Jessica Jones back, honestly.
Yeah, the only one I don't want to see is fucking Iron Fist. Danny Rand can stay the fuck home. I don't give a shit about that character and that casting. That was garbage. I think it could have been so much better.
Oh, I don't think the casting was that bad.
Oh, God, it was so bad.
You don't like the casting? I thought the casting was good. I just thought the story was kind of eh.
I liked the story. I like what it was doing for the lore. I liked what it was doing for the character. I think I could not get behind some of the casting. And the main character was just, it didn't work for me. It didn't sell it to me. I didn't believe it.
Interesting.
But give me Punisher, give me Daredevil, give me even Luke Cage was great.
Punisher. Yeah. Luke Cage, especially the first season of Luke Cage. Oh, classic.
Season 1 for sure.
So good.
Yep. But yeah, give me Jessica. I love the Jessica series. Jessica was awesome.
Yeah, that's what we got coming. So I think it all looks good coming up.
It does, but it thinking about what we've had in the first 3 phases, right? It seemed connected, and I know they're trying to redirect or reconnect with the Kang Dynasty and the Secret Wars, and I know I get it, and I hope it was just kind of like a blip, right, with the world shutting down and the pandemic and all the shit that caused the disconnected nature of what we're seeing. But the first 3 phases with the characters, it all paid off. And I don't see, you have Ironheart, you have Echo, you have the Marvels, you have all these Thunderbolts and all these things, US Agent, all these characters that are kind of just out there. How is that all going to come together and pay off?
We might be making a mistake in thinking that it will all come together into another Infinity War Endgame thing. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just continuous stories.
No, then they're lying to us. Because one, they're calling it phases. Okay, fine. 2, they're calling it part of the Kang Dynasty. What's happening is part of the Kang Dynasty. Okay, fine.
Right, so, but not everything. You don't expect you're going to see Echo in the Kang Dynasty, are you? Or are you going to see,
That's what I'm saying. in phase 1, 2, and 3, what did we see that wasn't connected? What was given to us that wasn't connected?
True.
So we get Infinity War, everyone's involved. Then we get Endgame, everyone's involved. Of course, because they were all involved in the first one. But like everyone was there. Yeah. But now like Kang Dynasty and Shang-Chi 2 might have something to do with it. Fine. Where does Echo fall into the Kang Dynasty story arc? Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like Secret Wars, the Skrull invasion, and Secret Wars, and Armor Wars, and like okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in phases 1, 2, 3, you had outliers. Like when Black Panther came out. Well, so that whole story was separate, but he did come from Civil War. So I'll give you that. Okay, so that was connected. Yeah, they did a really good job of keeping things tight up until Endgame. And now it's so many different things. It feels like they want to have all these different projects going on. And does that mean that like we're going to have another Endgame with Kane, but this time it's going to be She-Hulk talking to the camera, and then it's going to be Daredevil, and then it's going to be Miss Marvel, and then it's going to be the Eternals, and like that doesn't feel as payoff as much as, like I said early on with the Shang-Chi, like they should have picked 3 people to be their foundation. Sure. Like Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. That was the foundation of phases 1, 2, 3. I thought it was going to be Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, and I don't know, someone else, but.
Well, you still have Thor.
Well, the Falcon. Could have been a Falcon.
You still have Captain America. You still have Thor.
Yeah, sort of. He's gone off on some cosmic life.
Sure. But even the ones that you can think of as outliers in the beginning still had their purpose. I don't see where the majority of the stuff we're given right now fits into the Kang Dynasty. I don't think
everybody's going to be tied into Kang. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to leave some people on the cutting room floor. I think they're going to have batches like we're seeing Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Monica, like the Marvels coming together. We're seeing that happen, but maybe we're seeing that happen so that they don't have to have them happen with Kang. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like they have to happen with Kang.
Maybe they do, but they might be thinking that, okay, we had this one big epic thing that went to Endgame, came to a crescendo with Endgame, and now we're going to have all this other stuff, and a big portion of it's going to be Kang, but this is going to have its kind of big thing, and this is going to have its big thing.
Yeah.
Like the Kingpin's not going to have anything with Kang. Come on.
No,
like,
they can't.
Right. I think Daredevil and Echo and all, and Hawkeye and the Lady Hawk and all that stuff is its own thing.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to have them mess with Kane.
Oh, they can't. I think if the Marvels aren't doing anything with the Kang Dynasty, then they end up being Secret Wars, and they end up going up against.
Yeah, Secret Wars and all that stuff might be its own thing, and then you got Ant-Man and maybe some other stuff. Like, I don't think Falcon's going to be. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But
yeah, that's kind of the problem, I think. But I think the Marvels end up being Gaia. They end up having to go up against Gaia because she's too powerful. But they need to work. This movie is going to be more about them working together because every time they use their powers, they switch places. So they got to like do something to figure out how to work well together or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
That could work. But then you're skipping. It's almost like you have this storyline, and here's the Kang Dynasty, and you're going to give us something here that's going to go over the Kang Dynasty and hit over here, and it just doesn't. It's weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do like. I was very impressed with the fact that they let the Thanos thing have repercussions forever.
Yeah.
Like they didn't go back. Like they had time travel, but they didn't go back in time and undo everything to where, oh, everybody's so happy and stuff. There was still the blip. There was still totally missed years of people's lives and changed things. It messed with everything from then on. So I hope whatever happens with Kane is also that. It's a big devastating thing that changes people's lives and changes the directions of stuff. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's exciting to be able to talk about the what ifs of what's coming, but man, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our coverage of Phase 4 and into 5. So this is a weird night for us to do one, and thanks to everybody who's watching and watching later on. Tell us in the comments what you think of all these different shows. Bye. Say bye to Luca, everybody. Bye. Because it's nighttime. Bye. All right, bye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining. This was fun. This was an unexpected, fun romp through the Marvel chaos. So good shit.
It was good to catch up.
Yeah, it was.
All right. See everybody. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. Monday.
Yep. Sounds good. Say bye.
Bye.